Good Monday. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Sea Freedom Brew. What are we sitting down this week? We got the latest labor market conditions index after we had the employment situation released on Friday. Once again, a negative number, negative 0.9%, doing somewhat better than the previous 4 months, but still in that negative territory. But the reason to sit down is to look at China. In terms of the Bloomberg Commodity Index moving up slightly, which you'd expect with oil, but other things around the world, and especially in China, are very disturbing and are making me sit down this week. When we look at the Shanghai Index, for instance, still down 15% this year, is that there really has not been a lot of play in that particular index. But if we compare it and look at, amazingly enough, egg futures, and then also looking at steel bar futures, which are the pink lines moving up and the white lines, something very disturbing is happening in China. Amazingly enough, look at the numbers. 2 times the amount of futures traded over in China. 60% of those are speculative money into these markets. So when we look at this kind of huge rise in terms of overall futures, but in particular areas, this is very disturbing, and especially what I'll get to in just a minute. But if we look at, for instance, cotton futures, that would indicate that the Chinese could make 9 billion pairs of jeans. That's basically a pair of jeans for every person in the world. So once again, this is very disturbing in terms of what is happening over there. But even more disturbing is their mounting debt burden, which now amounts to 240% of GDP. And what's interesting about that, especially when we think about debt burden, is that there's estimates out there that out of every 10 loans, there's 2 loans that basically can't pay back their debt. And even compared to official figures in China, is that there's estimates out there that non-performing loans are 9 times what the government is projecting. So when we look at this, the big question out there, could China be another Japan in the making? This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Sea Freedom Brew. Have a great week.